Do you think women can subtly shape men's thoughts and choices without them noticing? It sounds like a plot from a mystery novel, right? However, there's a kind of woman who quietly holds a place in men's minds without trying, the Sigma female. These women glide through life quietly, avoiding the typical societal games, and yet many men find themselves drawn to them, puzzled and fascinated. So, what's the secret behind Sigma females, and why are they so distinct? First off, it's important to note, Sigma females aren't about controlling men. They steer clear of mind games, emotional manipulation, or concocting plans to make men fixate on them. They simply exist in their authentic state, and this genuine nature is what captivates. While many women might seek male approval or adapt their behaviors to meet social norms, Sigma females do the opposite. They embrace their complete independence, navigating life with a unique self-reliance that's both rare and compelling. Society often likes to categorize women. You're either the sweet, accommodating girl next door or the mysterious, alluring femme fatale. But Sigma females fit into neither of these categories. They don't reshape themselves to meet male expectations or alter their personality according to what's currently in vogue. They follow their own path, live at their own rhythm, and put their goals before anyone else's. This kind of independence doesn't just draw attention, it commands it. Because when a woman doesn't look for approval, doesn't need constant validation, and isn't influenced by others' views, she becomes something men aren't accustomed to, unpredictable, wild, and entirely in charge of her life. And that's precisely why many men are captivated by Sigma females. They find them mysterious, hard to classify, and most importantly, challenging to win over. The appeal of a Sigma female isn't about trying to charm others intentionally. It comes from her natural ease with being alone and confident without needing anyone's approval. This sense of independence and mystery makes her unpredictable, which really captures the attention of men. Men are usually familiar with women who adjust their behaviors to be more appealing and connect in ways that make them feel important. However, a Sigma female presents a stark contrast. She doesn't seek approval, demand attention, or center her life around finding love. This difference makes men think about her all the time, not because she's attempting to, but because she genuinely doesn't depend on them. In a society where women are often encouraged to seek validation from others, whether it's from society, their families, or their romantic partners, a woman who doesn't need this approval stands out like a sore thumb. From an early age, many women are taught to be likable and accommodating, rewarded for being sweet, and made to believe that their value depends on how much others like them. But a Sigma female acts differently. She isn't looking for constant approval, doesn't try to be overly likable, and doesn't change who she is to meet others' expectations. This confuses people, especially men. When men meet a woman who isn't trying to win them over, it throws off their expectations. Some men find her confidence and independence intriguing. They admire how she lives her life without looking for someone else's approval. However, others might feel threatened. They see her independence as a sign of indifference and assume she doesn't care about anyone else. There are even some men who find this completely unsettling. They struggle with not being able to predict, control, or impress her with simple gestures. They may try harder, overthink, and sometimes become upset or resentful. Why? Because the Sigma female does not react in the way they anticipated. She lives life on her own terms, and this alone is enough to challenge their understanding of attraction and relationships. Why do many men become obsessed with Sigma females and then feel out of control? Let's discuss the obsession first. Men are conditioned to pursue. From childhood, they learn that if they try hard enough, prove their worth, and play their cards right, they will get the girl. This idea is reinforced through movies, books, and personal experiences that suggest persistence is rewarding. They learn that women like big gestures, sweet talk, and constant pursuit. But when they encounter a Sigma female, all their previous notions about attraction fall apart. A Sigma woman isn't part of the usual dating game. She doesn't wait around to be noticed by someone. She doesn't try to become the perfect girlfriend. She's not looking for anyone's approval or trying to catch anyone's eye. Instead, she's busy living her life, following her passions, and making choices that aren't about winning over a man. For many men, this is unfamiliar and confusing. Many women, often without realizing it, have been brought up to be accommodating, to agree, and to seek approval. Society has taught them that their value depends on how much they are desired, how attractive they are, how many people like them, and how well they fit into traditional female roles. As a result, many women adjust their actions and words to attract men. They might hold back their true thoughts, play hard to get, or even act less capable or confident than they really are, all to make a man feel more essential. Men are used to this kind of behavior from women. They expect women to enjoy their attention, to be excited when they are pursued, and to be impressed by their efforts. But when they come across a Sigma woman, they are caught off guard. They don't know how to interact with a woman who isn't looking for validation or a relationship to feel complete. They are not prepared to encounter someone who doesn't need their attention to feel good about herself. This realization is startling for them. However, not all men are thrown off balance by a Sigma woman. Those who are truly confident in themselves, who don't rely on others for validation, who understand the difference between controlling and connecting, these men don't get upset. They respect a Sigma woman. They admire her self-sufficiency without feeling intimidated. They don't try to change her or fit her into a more convenient category. Instead, they treat her as an equal, recognizing that true love and partnership are about mutual respect, not about being in charge or submissive. These are the men who don't pursue aggressively, who don't play manipulative games, who don't view relationships as a contest. And these are the men who are best suited for a relationship with a Sigma woman. Sigma females aren't trying to get men to obsess over them. They don't use tricks, they don't play hard to get, and they don't use mind games. They just exist as they are. Their natural and easy independence is what makes men go wild. Most men are not prepared for a woman who doesn't rely on them. They're not used to someone who can easily walk away, who prefers peace over conflict, and who doesn't make romantic relationships the focus of her life. That's what makes men fixate on them. That's what causes men to react so strongly. At the end of the day, a Sigma female doesn't change for anyone. She's not waiting to become something she's not. She lives her life on her own terms, and only men who are strong enough to handle her independence can truly be with her. At first, their mystery is very appealing. Sigma females have an air of unpredictability that makes them stand out. They don't rush to reply to texts. They don't share too much. And they certainly don't try hard to show their worth to anyone, especially men. And this makes men lose their minds. Why? Because most men are accustomed to a certain way in relationships. They expect things to be predictable, with an emotional pattern they can feel in control of. They're used to women who reply quickly, who are open about their feelings, and who seek validation and connection in ways that make men feel significant. But a Sigma female doesn't follow these rules. She follows her own schedule, dances to her own beat, and doesn't let what society expects influence how she interacts with others. When a man meets a woman like this, he's immediately captivated. Not because she's playing games, but precisely because she isn't. Let's simplify this. Men like structure. They prefer knowing what comes next, even in relationships. They depend on predictable patterns, text exchanges, emotional conversations, and expected behaviors from women. They think that if they send a text, they'll get a reply in a certain amount of time. If they flirt, they expect flirting in return. If they show interest, they think they'll eventually win her over. But when they meet a Sigma female, suddenly nothing follows the expected script. She doesn't reply right away because she has her own life, ambitions, and priorities that don't center around checking her phone. She doesn't text good morning or constantly check up on him because she doesn't need that type of connection to feel complete. She doesn't hint at wanting attention because she's too involved in living her life. This unpredictability leaves men feeling unsettled. They keep asking themselves, why isn't she replying? Does she even like me? What they fail to understand is that she's not ignoring them. She's simply not fixated on them. For a man who is accustomed to being pursued, this is both annoying and strangely compelling. In today's world of social media, texting, and constant digital presence, many people feel compelled to share every detail of their lives. They freely express their thoughts, feelings, and personal challenges soon after meeting someone new. Sigma females, however, take a different approach. They prefer to keep things to themselves, not because they're secretive, but because they value the allure of mystery. She doesn't feel the need to broadcast her every action or prove herself with constant updates. She shares on her terms and always keeps some things back. This selective sharing drives men wild. Why? Because men enjoy mysteries. They relish the excitement of discovering hidden details, feeling as if they have special access to parts of a woman's mind or heart that others don't see. But with a Sigma female, they never get the complete picture. She doesn't expose her whole personality on the first date. She doesn't rush to explain herself to someone who hasn't proven trustworthy. Instead of revealing everything up front, she lets people stay curious. And men? They find themselves constantly thinking about her because they can't fully understand her. Let's face it, many men like to feel necessary. This isn't just about love, it's tied to their identity. From a young age, men are taught that their value comes from being protectors, providers, and problem solvers. They think that being needed in a relationship confirms their importance, but when they encounter a Sigma female, their whole belief system is challenged. She doesn't need his nightly texts, his plans for her future, or his solutions to her problems. She seeks a connection, of course, but she's completely fine by herself. She doesn't rely on a relationship to make her feel happy, fulfilled, or secure. For many men, this is disconcerting. If she doesn't need him, how can he show his worth? How does he win her over if she isn't looking to be rescued? This is where their obsession starts. Men become intensely focused on gaining her attention. They see her as a challenge, not because she's playing hard to get, but because she's genuinely independent. For a man who is used to being the focal point of a woman's world, this is both addictive and frightening. Men expect women to react emotionally to their actions. They're accustomed to seeing reactions like excitement, jealousy, annoyance, or love. But a Sigma female remains calm. She doesn't get jealous when he chats with other women. She doesn't bombard him with messages if he doesn't text for a few hours. She stays composed even when he distances himself. And this baffles men. Most men understand dating as a series of reactions. If they flirt with someone else, a typical woman might feel threatened. If they're slow to respond, she might get worried. But a Sigma female doesn't show these reactions, not because she doesn't care, but because she won't let her feelings be swayed easily. She values her tranquility more than pursuing someone who isn't fully present in the relationship. She avoids wasting her energy on needless drama. And for men who are used to emotional responses, this becomes a psychological challenge, a game they end up playing against themselves. They begin to try harder, overthink, and become the ones constantly checking their phones, wondering why she hasn't contacted them. They move from being in charge to feeling lost, unable to shake off the thought that they are the ones being ignored. Initially, the enigmatic nature of a Sigma female captivates many. Men are drawn to her, impressed by her self-reliance and her calm demeanor. However, for men who lack confidence, this admiration quickly turns into dissatisfaction. They label her as overly independent, criticize her for being distant emotionally, and claim she doesn't put enough effort into relationships. Why? Because they hoped to be the focal point of her life, but she doesn't work that way. A Sigma female will not sacrifice her own peace to appease a man's insecurities. She avoids drama, refuses to diminish herself to meet someone's expectations, and when men realize they cannot sway her or foresee her actions, they become unsettled. Sigma females aren't trying to make men fixate on them. They don't play emotional games or pretend to be someone they're not. They simply live life on their terms, confident and independent, never feeling they must justify their value to anyone. This is precisely why men remain fascinated by them. Some admire this, some are intimidated, and others are overwhelmed by trying to understand it. But ultimately, a Sigma female is not here to be comprehended by men. She is here to be true to herself, and those who appreciate that will stay, while the rest realize they can't keep up. At the beginning, the allure of her mystery and independence is thrilling. Men are lured in, hoping to uncover her secrets, and perhaps be the one to connect with her deeply. But the reality eventually dawns on them. No matter how much they try, no matter their charm, or how much they show off their wealth or status, a Sigma female remains unaffected. She does not seek their validation or approval, and certainly she does not need them to feel whole. For many men, this is a hard hit to their ego. They are accustomed to believing that their influence, attention, and resources give them power over women. But a Sigma female shatters this notion. When men come to understand that they cannot manipulate or influence her, and their usual approaches with other women don't work on her, their fascination turns to irritation. Not every man can handle a woman who owns her power so completely. Some respect and admire her autonomy and see it as a challenge to improve themselves and aim for a relationship of mutual respect. However, others despise it, viewing her independence not just as confidence, but as a direct challenge to their masculinity. That's when they start to criticize. The qualities that initially fascinated them, her independence, her mysteriousness, her emotional steadiness, are now seen as flaws. You're too unemotional, you're too aloof, you're too self-reliant. The men who once praised her uniqueness now resent her for not fitting their expectations. Their frustration is not really about her, it's about their own insecurities. For men who rely on external factors, like their job, wealth, or status, to build their self-esteem, a Sigma female reflects back a reality they're not prepared to confront. She prompts them to question themselves. If she doesn't care about my money, what else do I have to offer? If my status doesn't impress her, what am I left with? Many men have never needed to consider these questions before. Usually their worth is tied to their ability to provide, to attract women, or to control their relationships. A Sigma female ignores all these superficial aspects. She instantly sees through any manipulation, and when a man realizes he has nothing else to offer without his usual leverage, that's when his frustration turns to bitterness. What's one of the harshest things men who lack confidence say to Sigma females? They say, "You're too cold." What do they really mean by that? It's important to know that Sigma females are not without feelings. They experience deep emotions, love passionately, and genuinely care. However, they don't openly display their emotions, nor do they let others manipulate their feelings. For men who use emotions to control others, this is a big issue. They expect a woman to feel jealous if they flirt with others, or to desperately seek their company when they distance themselves. But Sigma females don't engage in such emotional play. They don't seek constant attention or fall apart when a man distances himself. They understand that if a man resorts to such tactics, he wasn't worthy of their time in the first place. Instead of recognizing her emotional strength, insecure men view it as a defect. To them, a woman who can't be controlled must be indifferent, because in their view, only needy women are affectionate. Another frequent criticism: "You're too independent." What they actually mean is, "You don't make me feel needed. I'm not sure how to be with a woman who doesn't depend on me." This isn't really about her. It's about their insecurities. A Sigma female doesn't revolve her life around a man because she has her own interests, goals, and dreams. She had a life before him, and it will go on even if he's gone. Some men find this independence appealing. They admire a woman who challenges them, who motivates them, who has her own aspirations. However, insecure men find this frightening. If she doesn't depend on him, then he must find other ways to prove his worth, like showing emotional depth, intellectual engagement, or real compatibility. And many men aren't prepared for that kind of test. Why do some men leave while others become fixated? The ones who leave are those who can't meet the emotional challenge. They claim she's too demanding, too independent, or expects too much. The truth is, they just weren't strong enough to keep up with her. Those who become fixated are the ones who can't accept that they didn't win her over. They obsess, overthink, and try sneaky ways to come back into her life, all because their ego can't accept that they weren't enough. The irony is, the Sigma female never asked them to prove themselves. She was simply living her life, being true to herself. But because they weren't confident in their own identity, they couldn't handle the weight of her presence. Ultimately, there's a simple truth at the heart of this. A Sigma female cannot be tamed, not by money, charm, or playing with her feelings. For men who depend on control to feel important, this is a tough pill to swallow. But for men who are truly secure in themselves, they see a Sigma female as an equal, not a challenge to overcome, but a partner to value. And these are the only men who will truly matter in her life. Sigma females don't have to change themselves. They don't have to tone down their brightness, reduce their personalities, or weaken their strengths just to make insecure men comfortable. The right man won't feel threatened by her self-reliance. Instead, he'll be encouraged by it. And those who can't deal with it, it's best to let them go. Let them get upset. Let them unravel. Because in the end, a Sigma female isn't here to fix broken men. She's here to be her true self, and only the strongest can truly stand with her. There's a false belief about Sigma females. People think they are cold, emotionless, and don't care about relationships. They're seen as untouchable and indifferent. Yes, from the outside, it might seem that way. Sigma females don't chase after others. They don't need others' approval. They don't go out of their way to be liked. But the truth is, even the toughest women have feelings. Even the most self-sufficient long for love, connection, and closeness. They just won't settle for less than what they deserve. This is where it gets tricky. Most men are not accustomed to this type of presence. They've learned that women are either submissive and desperate for affection, or they're dominant and want to be in charge. Sigma females fit into neither category, which confuses many men. To understand why many men find Sigma females challenging in relationships, we need to discuss something deeper: toxic masculinity. It's important to clarify, being masculine is not inherently harmful. Qualities like strength, leadership, and confidence are positive. However, toxic masculinity is the harmful version that society often promotes to men. It instills ideas such as men should always be in charge. Showing emotions is a sign of weakness, and a real man never lets a woman take the lead. These ideas don't just harm men, they ruin relationships. Because when a man meets a Sigma female, he faces something unexpected. A woman who doesn't need him to be in charge. A woman who won't pretend to be less smart to make him feel better. A woman who expects a genuine emotional bond. And many men simply don't know how to deal with that. When a Sigma female starts dating someone, she brings something very special: genuine sincerity. She has no interest in playing social games, giving insincere compliments, or manipulating emotions. She values honesty. This often leads to issues. Many men are taught to hide their feelings, believing that showing emotions like a sign of weakness. However, Sigma females can't stand emotional fakeness. They easily spot when someone is pretending, especially if a man is just protecting his pride, and they aren't afraid to point it out. They don't do this to be mean, but rather to push for honesty. Emotionally mature men find this approach refreshing. They like that she seeks a true, deep connection. But for men who aren't emotionally mature, it can be scary. They aren't used to someone who sees right through them. They aren't used to a woman who rejects shallow displays of affection. So, how do they react? Some try to dominate her, to make themselves feel strong. Others become overly eager to please her, always trying to gain her favor. Many men believe that women like to be chased, that if they pursue vigorously, buy expensive gifts and say the perfect things, they will make her fall for them. But Sigma females don't work like that. They aren't moved by big gestures if they aren't heartfelt. They don't get swayed by hollow promises. This confuses men because they are used to relationships where actions directly lead to love. If I do this, she'll love me. But with Sigma females, love isn't a simple exchange. When men realize they can't win her over with conventional methods, they begin to feel out of control. They act unpredictably, at one moment trying to impress her, and the next withdrawing because they feel weak. Eventually, they exhaust themselves. Many men start relationships thinking they should be the provider, the protector, the leader. But what happens when they encounter a woman who doesn't need looking after? For some, this is motivating. They view her as an equal, someone who encourages them to better themselves. For others, it feels like a threat to their self-esteem. They start doubting their worth. If she doesn't need me, am I still valuable? If she doesn't rely on me, what's my purpose? Rather than evolving, many men respond poorly. Some diminish her independence with remarks like, "You're too challenging. No man will ever want you unless you become easier." Others compete with her, turning what could be a loving relationship into a contest of wills. And when they can't handle it, they leave. It's simpler to exit than to challenge what they've always believed about love and manhood. Here's the reality. Most men don't lose Sigma females because they aren't good enough. They lose them because they aren't prepared for them. They aren't ready to be emotionally challenged. They aren't ready to relinquish control. Sigma females don't cause men to lose control. Men lose control over themselves. They struggle because they can't handle a woman who doesn't fit the usual relationship mold. But for men who are open to change, who are ready to discard harmful habits and truly connect emotionally, they will discover that Sigma females are not just independent and strong. There's a myth that powerful women, particularly Sigma females, possess some magical ability to manipulate men, that they employ mind games or emotional strategies to bewitch them. That's not true. Sigma females don't manipulate men. They don't resort to tricks to assert dominance. And yet, men are still deeply attracted to them. Why? Because real strength isn't about control. It's about being real, respecting oneself, and maintaining a solid sense of who you are. And that's something no man can overlook. Many people think having power in relationships means being in control, being the one who makes the decisions, who others chase, who sets the rules. However, Sigma females are different. Their strength comes not from controlling others, but from their own identity. They don't seek approval or need others to affirm their value. This type of confidence is rare and therefore very appealing. Men are attracted to Sigma females not because they are deceived, but because they are drawn to their genuine nature. Sigma females don't pretend or manipulate emotions to feel strong. They are truthful, and this honesty changes what many men expect from relationships. Men are used to women who need approval, who change themselves to be liked, who pursue others. When Sigma females don't do this, it surprises them. Men end up pursuing these women, not because they play hard to get, but because their authenticity is intriguing. Men are captivated by Sigma females, not through tricks, but because these women exhibit qualities that are inherently attractive. A truly confident woman doesn't worry about losing others. She understands that the right people will respect her and that love shouldn't be forced. She knows seeking approval is futile. Her calm and self-assured energy attracts people naturally. After all, people don't want to be controlled. They seek someone who makes them feel secure, respected, and understood. That's what makes Sigma females memorable. They not only draw men in, they inspire them to improve, to develop, to change for the better, willingly, not out of coercion. In this complex dance of human relationships, Sigma females often represent a profound paradigm shift, boldly stepping away from the traditional roles that society imposes on women. Their influence extends far beyond personal interactions, permeating broader societal perceptions and challenging long-held norms. Picture a world where the actions and decisions of a woman are not measured by how pleasing they are to men, but are instead guided by her own desires, her own goals, and her own sense of self. Sigma females epitomize this revolutionary ideal, demonstrating a type of independence that is not only admirable but transformative. The impact of Sigma females on traditional gender roles is both fascinating and significant. In many societies, men are typically expected to lead, to pursue, and to control the dynamics of relationships. However, Sigma females disrupt these conventional expectations. They are not enigmas to be deciphered or trophies to be won. Instead, their actions are rooted in a robust self-assurance and a genuine desire to live authentically, true to themselves and unswayed by external pressures. This authenticity often proves disorienting for men who are conditioned to anticipate a certain degree of compliance and appreciation for their efforts and attentions. Let's dig deeper into the broader implications of this dynamic. When confronted with a Sigma female, men face a pivotal choice. They can either grow and adapt or retreat into comfort. Those who choose to grow find that their interactions with Sigma females serve as a powerful catalyst for self-examination and personal evolution. These men come to appreciate emotional depth and genuine connections far more than superficial attractions or conquests. They begin to view relationships not as battles to be won, but as partnerships to be nurtured and cherished. Conversely, for those who choose to retreat, the presence of a Sigma female acts as a mirror, reflecting their insecurities and deficiencies. Instead of embracing the opportunity for personal growth, these men might label her as intimidating or unreachable, not as an accurate reflection of her character, but as a defense mechanism to avoid confronting their vulnerabilities. This retreat can lead them to spiral, losing sight of the potential for evolution, clinging instead to outdated and unhelpful notions of masculinity and control. Another crucial aspect to consider is the societal narrative surrounding Sigma females. Their story is not merely about individual interactions. It is fundamentally about challenging and transforming the narratives that have traditionally governed gender dynamics. By simply being themselves, confident, independent, and authentic, Sigma females inspire other women to re-evaluate their own approaches to independence, relationships, and self-identity. They set a powerful example, demonstrating that it is not only acceptable but necessary to forge one's own path, free from the constraints of societal expectations. In conclusion, the journey of a Sigma female is one marked by authenticity and self-respect. It serves as a poignant reminder to all of us, regardless of gender, that the strongest, most enduring connections are built on a foundation of mutual respect and understanding, not on dominance or submission. For men willing to embrace this new perspective, the rewards are immense. A relationship grounded in truth, respect, and genuine partnership offers a depth and fulfillment unlike any other. This evolving interaction between Sigma females and the men who encounter them represents a significant cultural shift. As more individuals come to understand and embrace these dynamics, we can anticipate a gradual but steady redefinition of what it means to engage in healthy, equitable relationships. The presence of Sigma females in societal narratives not only challenges, but also enriches our collective understanding of gender roles, pushing us toward a more inclusive and respectful global community. So, what do you think? Have you noticed this kind of interaction in your own experiences? Share your views below, and let's discuss. If you're interested in exploring topics like these, then check out my other videos. I'm sure you'll find something that resonates with you. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Until next time.